Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for being subscribed. If you are, if you aren't, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening to this on YouTube while you're at it, hit that like button. It's like walking into the room, hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. Let's get into this conversation. Now, Tasha K, she recently did an interview with one of Peter Thomas's former employees from Bar One in Miami, I believe. Her name is Alicia Hunt. And I listened to the interview last week, actually. Well, not last week, earlier this week, I meant to say, on the app. And man, when I tell you, I was just like, this is absolutely crazy. All of the things that she exposed. I don't believe that she was being dishonest. I believe that she was telling nothing but the truth, because she, when I tell you, literally came with receipts. Like some people say they have receipts and the receipts is what they're speaking of. Like she literally came with physical and digital receipts for Tasha. Okay. And she says that the reason that she is no longer working there is because she just could not take it anymore when it came to how he was running his business and how he was treating his staff. And I don't believe that she had any reason to lie. But as just jarring, I shall say, as some of the accusations and allegations were when it came to how he was operating the business, because I've never run a restaurant. I've never even worked in a restaurant before. So I wasn't familiar with a lot of the terminology. But Tasha K, she was, because she says, and she's said this before on several occasions, that she got a lot of experience working as a server in the restaurant industry. But I heard that restaurants are not easy businesses to operate. I've heard that restaurants, the closure rates are extremely high. Usually in the first 7 years, most restaurants, they just don't last. And I know where I'm located, there was even a franchise restaurant that was run terribly. And it wasn't even there, I don't even think, for 6 or 8 months, and it's gone. And doesn't look like it's ever going to return. And it was sad for me because I felt like they had decent food, but it was just run terribly. And so when you don't have that leadership at the top, it's bound to fail. And you definitely not just need to have the leadership at the top. You have to have money to run a restaurant, because unless it's some mom and pop food business or some truck, and I'm not speaking negatively on these, so please don't think that's what I'm doing, or it's some food truck or something like that where you don't need a lot of people running it, you have to have staff. And in order to have staff that are going to show up for you and work, especially in the times that we're in now, where a lot of people just don't want to work anymore, you have to treat people well. And one of the main things you do to treat people well is you have to pay them. And if you can't pay them, then you don't need to be having these employees. Because one of the things that she revealed that I really found shocking, and this is what I really want to speak to, is the fact that people's paychecks were bouncing. How do you bounce payroll checks, especially in this day and age? I just don't understand that. This man having multiple restaurants, I would think, would have a payroll company to handle the payroll. You have your accountant to handle your taxes, your quarterly taxes, all that other stuff. You have your payroll company that handles paying the payroll taxes. I'm speaking from experience because that's what I have. I have employees. I don't have a business like Peter has. I don't have a restaurant, and I definitely don't have the size that he has. But even my business that I consider to be a small business, and it is registered as a small business, or considered, I should say, a small business in the United States. If you have less than 500 employees, then you're considered a small business. So you could have a huge business with a lot of employees, but if you have less than 500 employees, then they consider you a small business. And that's how a lot of people got a lot more during the pandemic. But I digress. It's not even about that. I'm just going to share my views on what I feel is crazy about this situation, because we know that there's been a lot of things that have been alleged to have happened, or that Peter has been involved in, or that he may owe. And I'm just going to read a few headlines, to be honest with you. Just a few headlines. We know that he went through the divorce with Cynthia Bailey. We know that they were having financial struggles from the very beginning. The first season that they were on Real Housewives of Atlanta together, he had that restaurant called Uptown in Atlanta. And they even showed Cynthia. I don't know if that was just for the sake of the cameras, but they showed her serving in the restaurant. But she said that she gave him a lot of money for that restaurant, and it wound up shutting down while they were in that first season. Then he had the other place. I don't remember if it was still called Uptown, but it was in a different space. And there were troubles with that. But at first it seemed like it was going well. It looked cute and whatnot, but didn't seem like it was going well. Then he said that the building was in foreclosure, but it wasn't that he wasn't paying his rent. And that can happen, because when you're renting spaces, like most businesses do, most businesses don't own the spaces that they're in. I don't own the spaces that my business locations are operating from. I pay lease. I pay rent. I have leases on the building, so I pay rent to the owners. There's nothing wrong with that. But you could be in a situation where the owner isn't doing what they're supposed to do, but that is extremely rare. So it's like, okay, of all people, this happens to Peter. But he said that he was trying to buy the building, but that wound up not happening, I guess. Cynthia got tired. She got out of it. She divorced him. She wound up suing him for money. And then there's just a number of other things that happened. He was arrested at one point for a bad check. He was accused of owing over $450,000 in back taxes from over a decade ago. This is back in 2022. And he had all these allegations going back and forth when it came to the Real Housewives of Potomac and Mia Thornton and her husband, because Mia Thornton's husband came out and said that he had either lent or gave Peter a lot of money. I don't know if that's true or not, but that was the allegations that came out. And then there was allegations that he assaulted Tammy Rivera, who is Waka Flocka's wife, assaulting her niece. I believe he was acquitted for that. I don't know why. I don't know if there's just not enough evidence or what. I don't know what the situation was in that situation. And then here recently, he was blasted by a former employee of the Miami Bar One for claims that he hasn't paid her back pay of about $1,400. And so Alicia Hunt, she has come out to defend this person, as well as just defending the employees of the restaurant in general, because she let it be known that he has bounced payroll, and he has even let them know that there were times when payroll was due to say, well, tell the people to hold off for a little bit. I got some other stuff that I got to handle. I cannot imagine operating a business like that, where you are treating the people who, the employees are like the bloodline of your business. If they all just decided, you know what, we're out of here, we quit, what are you going to do? And I don't know what it is about some of these people. They must just have a lot of something in them that a lot of other people just don't have. Because a lot of people, knowing that they are owed money, they're not going to come in and work until they get paid what they're due to be paid. So when she came out and said that payroll checks bounced, I'm thinking, who's even doing paychecks like that anymore? It's usually direct deposit these days. And like I said, I don't have a business the size of Peter's. I don't know how many employees he has, but if you have Bar One Charlotte, I think she said that one is closed, but I'm saying You have bar one in Charlotte. You've got bar one in Baltimore. You got bar one in Miami. I'm quite sure you have more than 5 people working at these establishments. How are you giving them paper checks? Why don't you have a payroll company that's handling that? And you are not submitting direct deposits, so their money is just getting directly deposited into their checking accounts. Little old me, I have been doing direct deposit since I started having employees back in 2012. When I just had my first employee, I was doing direct deposit. So I don't understand how you write a check to an employee in this day and time. Anyway, it should not even be an issue. But see, the thing about it is, I feel like he didn't do the direct deposit because you have to have the money in your account. When it comes to the payroll companies, you submit all of the amounts that were earned for each employee. They calculate the taxes. They take the taxes. They deduct the taxes out of the paychecks. They submit the taxes that are owed to the governmental agencies, state and federal. And you as an employer, you also have payroll taxes that you have to pay on top of that. So what I'm thinking, in my personal opinion, I don't know, but it sounds like what's happening is that he was doing the paper check route because it would give him a few extra days to gather the cash together to put into the bank account. So by the time they would go and cash their checks, the money would be there hopefully by then. But when you do direct deposit, as soon as you submit it, like if payroll is due to be paid to everyone on Friday, they're usually drafting that money out of your bank account by Wednesday, maybe Thursday at the latest. And it also depends on the payroll company that you choose, because there are some payroll companies where if the payroll is due to be paid to the employees on Friday, they want to make sure that you have all of the funds in your account by that Monday or Tuesday of that same week. So that's what it sounds like to me as to why he was paying employees with a company of his size and as many employees as he has paper checks instead of doing direct deposit. And that is insane because that just sounds like he was playing with fire. And I guess that's something that he's comfortable doing because he's been doing it for so long. He's been just continuously kicking the can down the road. We have seen him on the seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta when he was on there with Cynthia. And I'll be honest, not knowing his background and knowing a whole lot about him, I was one of those people that would try to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I was never out here on social media windmilling for him, saying people were lying on him or anything like that. But I was just from the perspective of a business owner trying to give grace when it came to the business's ups and downs and the ebbs and flows and the woes that happen in business, especially when it comes to owning a restaurant. Because like I said, I've never owned a restaurant, but I have heard that those are some of the hardest businesses to operate. And they're usually some of the first to close. And it takes a lot of effort and money and assistance and effort in order to keep things going. So sometimes if you see a restaurant here today and gone tomorrow, it may not be so much that the business was failing. It could be that the person who owned it decided, you know what, I don't know if this is worth, the energy and effort that I had designed for it or desired for the success that I was hoping to have. I don't know if this is what I want to do, because I even remember on The Real Housewives of New Jersey, years ago, when Caroline Manzo and her husband, they had the Brownstone, which is like a wedding event space and restaurant style type of business. She even said, I hardly see my husband because when you have a restaurant, this type of business, you're married to the restaurant. Like you always have to be there. But listen, that business has been there for decades. It's extremely successful, but it's one of the sacrifices that you have to make in order to see a business like that grow and thrive. I know someone who has a family restaurant business, and that's one of the things that I'm told, that you're always working. You're always working. And yes, the business is successful, but you're always working. And so some people decide this isn't worth the sacrifice for me anymore, and I just want to get out of it. But when it comes to Peter, it's just really strange that he could just continue to operate in this way. Like some of the things that Alicia alleged that he was doing, all of these different LLCs that he's having and using just for the sake of keeping the Bar One restaurant going. It's just weird. But if it's some sort of Ponzi scheme style of operation that he has going, and you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're having liquor licenses suspended or revoked, but you still need to get that liquor because that's a large portion of the money that you make in your business. So you're having other people go to the liquor stores to buy liquor and all that other stuff like that. It's just really, it has to be extremely tiring for him. I don't really know how he can continue on operating this way. And now that he's been exposed in this way, this is so different than this young lady not knocking anything that she's done. She was just only doing what she could do, coming out on social media and blasting, the restaurant and the fact that she hadn't been paid. But if all of the employees were to file complaints with the labor board and even filing a class action lawsuit, I don't know. I'm just saying it would probably have to be something bigger. And this may be the start of it. So Tasha K said that she's got the receipts and she's going to be sending them to the proper authorities. And I don't think she's lying. I don't think that she has any dog in the fight or has any vendetta against him personally. But she says when it comes to stuff like this, especially just having my experience being a server and being in the restaurant industry, I know what it's like. And to have people work and not get paid, that's BS. And so she said she's going to be sending some emails and making some phone calls. So I don't know. I don't know what's up with Peter. I don't know what his next steps are going to be, but we shall see. And we'll keep our eyes open on this and see what's up. But I really wanted to talk about that from the perspective of the pay and the payroll, because when I heard her say that paychecks bounced, I was like, why is he doing paper checks to anybody that works for him as an employee, for that matter? I mean, I even have people that do some work with me virtually that are not considered employees. They're independent contractors, and I don't even pay them with paper checks. Even they are getting electronic payments. So I just don't understand that at all. But again, I shared my views on why I feel like he's doing that. You can let me know your thoughts in the comment section. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. I appreciate you being here. I'm Beth. I'm just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I just wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.